In this long battle between DC and Marvel, looks like this time the battlefield is going to be the multiverse. So, let's start. Open it. Talking about this battleground called multiverse, both DC and Marvel have their own multiverse, or you can say the multiverse theory or stories. We have seen those in their comics, and each of them has taken a different approach towards this multiverse thing. And of course, I know as much as multiverse sounds interesting, yes, it is confusing too. Now that we are getting to experience the same thing in live action, so it is amazing. But before that, we have experienced a part of the multiverse in the DC universe, which you can also talk about the CW universe, and we have experienced the multiverse out there. But right now, getting to see them happening in the Marvel universe and also in the DC cinematic universe will be a little different and I would say more interesting, isn't it? So right now, we are not talking about the comic book or the TV series, even though like the DC TV series are part of the DC multiverse, but we'll keep that aside for a while. And also, we're not talking about the animated series. We're talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and also the DC Extended Universe out here. So the multiverse that what we are talking now is going to relate both of them. It's the multiverse happening in both this universe, the movieverse. First of all, we'll be talking about Team Marvel, which is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I believe as of now, many fans, I believe all the fans, be it DC or Marvel, and most of the non-fans are aware of it. Now, Marvel Cinematic Universe has been very successful under the guidance of Kevin Feige. Like, this guy is just amazing. He has just like lifted Marvel to a level. It feels like unbeatable right now, and of course we don't want anyone to beat Marvel too, unless it's DC. So, but they've been making amazing movies, amazing storylines, the way it has connected all of them, and of course the 22 movie saga with the end of Infinity Saga, it was amazing. And now we're moving on to the next saga, right? And so yes, we have Team Marvel, which is really strong, has already built a great foundation to it, and they're just moving ahead with their next phase. So that's your Team Marvel. Next, we have Team DC, or DC Extended Universe, or DC Cinematic Universe, whatever you want to say. Now, even though DC doesn't have a proper shared universe as Marvel, because DC hasn't started. Of course, DC had movies way before Marvel started their cinematic universe. They have been making good solo movies. I say amazing, best solo movies, many award-winning movies too. But talking about a shared universe, well, that has been a rough road for DC. But with the recent DC fandom event, and we were aware of a lot of movies coming out, and like in the DC slate, it looks like DC is coming back strong. But again, the big question comes in. It doesn't look like as streamlined as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But as we know, Walter Hamada and of course Jim Lee, all of them have already said that in DC, everything is connected, be it TV series or all. It's like everything. And of course, that scene in Flash of TV series where we got to see Ezra Miller, that is where everything changed. So guys, Team DC for you. Preparation for war, as the battleground is multiverse, so we will just pick the points and the aspects where both Marvel and DC are involved in the multiverse segment. And to start with, we need to see what these both teams are prepared with to deliver as to fight in this multiverse war, right? one thing everyone needs to agree to it, be it a DC fan, Marvel fan, or any fan. It's DC who started this multiverse thing by announcing the Flash movie and saying that it's going to deal with the multiverse. DC said it first. Okay, guys. So please, later on, I don't want everyone saying like they copy it from each other. And I'm not saying Marvel copied from DC, but because both the universe has the multiverse concept, so I don't say it's copy kind of a thing. But yet again, DC said it first. Now DC is stepping into the battle for the multiverse with the Flash movie. Yes, we all love Flash, right? It's funny. He's funny, he's interesting, he's cool, and yeah, we love the whole storyline about Flash. Now, the Flash movie did get delayed a lot because of not getting a director. Now, since it has a director, and of course with the official announcement about the movie going ahead in DC fandom, and we got to know about the new suit coming up and few more other surprises too. Now, the Flash movie will feature Ben Affleck as Batman. We were all excited when we heard the news as Ben Affleck coming back as Batman in the Flash movie. Not only that, we also got to know that it's not yet confirmed yet, but maybe Michael Keaton is also going to be in that movie. And apart from that, there are many other rumors that we might get to see the other Justice League members too, maybe Cyborg, Wonder Woman. So just rumors as of now. So what I'm saying is that DC is doing a lot for that movie. I know that there's going to be time traveling happening, and of course after the Flash movie a lot of things will be changed, but we'll talk about that later. But they're doing it everything they could, and of course looking at the cast and I believe and the storyline, it needs to be a good movie regardless of how they explain the multiverse, which is also important because the fans really want to see that how they treat multiverse in the movie. And of course it doesn't need to be that much complicated for the non-fans also, because even they need to enjoy it. So that's one of the main thing. But as I can say, DC is really working out in their way for the Flash movie, and they're thinking up new things to go ahead with it. So Marvel has also announced their multiverse platform, or you can say their player for the multiverse battle, and that is Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. And of course we all agreed to it that it made sense for Doctor Strange to be in a multiverse platform or a multiverse movie because since he is the Sorcerer Supreme, right? And we later got to know Wanda is also going to be there, Scarlet Witch, in the movie, and it just opened endless possibilities. No matter what you say, there's always something called money and competition, which always going to be around. Every studio wants to earn money, and of course there is a competition, even though how much you say like DC and Marvel, when Marvel doesn't need to compete with DC, or DC can do its own thing. But it does come down to that, because Kevin Feige has played it in such an amazing way that now his multiverse is not only going to be Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, but it will be in Spider-Man 3 too. As we are aware of, the Doctor Strange is going to be in Spider-Man 3, and so Spider-Man 3 will also deal with multiverse, which was not supposed to, I believe, before, because as we have seen in the end of Spider-Man 2 Far From Home, we saw Skrull, so that was kind of a hint to the Secret Invasion thing. But the way we can see right now, it's moving ahead towards the multiverse thing. But not only that, Wanda Vision has also got to do something with this multiverse segment. So DC's multiverse starts with the Flash movie, but it's one movie explaining the whole multiverse, or at least it'll give you a glimpse of the multiverse happening while Flash traveling back to time, saving his mom, or whatever the storyline is. But here in Marvel, how the multiverse starts So what's going to happen is this, that the multiverse starts with Wanda Vision, in where Wanda disrupts the timeline of, or you can say the multiverse, and the impact of her disruption or on that multiverse will be seen in Spider-Man 3, and maybe in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, we get to see Doctor Strange fixing the multiverse and with making those various changes. Now, as you can see that Marvel's answer to DC's multiverse, it's with 3 segments, 2 movies, 1 TV series. And I won't say it's not fair, but then again, Marvel had time to plan it. And of course, if you see, WandaVision comes before the Flash movie. So you'll get a glimpse of or an idea about the WandaVision or the multiverse thing. And after that, you'll be moving ahead to Spider-Man, where you'll get more detailed clarification and or more extended version of the multiverse. And then the whole thing will be solved in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Now, when you see that compared to the Flash movie, it seemed kind of like not fair, or maybe too much for the Flash movie to handle. But no need to worry about, because DC can do something, or DC has something in their hands too. Why I'm saying DC doesn't need to worry that much, because if the movie does good, that all it matters. If it does really good and it helps the DC extended or cinematic universe, that's it. It just needs to earn a good amount of money. The people should love it. It needs to have a good cinema score. That's it. It's a win-win situation. Now, talking about Marvel here, because the way Marvel has structured its multiverse thing and the way they're planning to explain it, because of course, the event of multiverse, be it DC or Marvel, it's going to affect the multiverse shown in the Flash movie for the DCs and in Marvel for Wanda Vision, Spider-Man or Doctor Strange will impact in the whole cinematic universe for both the Marvel and DCs. But with the recent rumors, I won't say rumors because it's more or less kind of feels like happening, where we might get to see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3. And as we also got to know that we might get to see those maybe Tom Cruise or Emily Blunt, who were previously not casted. Actually, they were looked out for the role for Iron Man and Black Widow to be shown as Iron Man and Black Widow, or maybe other Avengers in a different multiverse, right? Now, why is all that happening? Why Kevin Feige is going that deep, getting everyone? Because of course he needs to make a good movie, amazing movie, wants to give a shock and awe impression of the movie. But yet again, that he is also not taking any chances. He wants his movie to do a-okay, and of course break all expectations and go beyond everything, right? And he doesn't want to give DC a chance here. But then again, DC is not behind too, because DC is also, and I repeat, also has a room to introduce people. They might plan to bring up Kristen Bale. They can, because if they can bring Michael Keaton, they can bring anyone. But both DC and Marvel, no matter whom they bring, no matter how they make their stories, they need to be careful or be aware of few things. If he brings in a lot of superheroes, cramp it up, I don't want the movie to be too cramped up. I know everyone's going to be there. We all will love it. We'll all love to see it. But then again, the story matters. Like any other movie, the story is important. Like how you're going to show this character, how long those characters are going to be. If an important character is being brought back and you just keep him for a small cameo, and if he doesn't deliver that much, I feel there's no point bringing him into it. Same goes for DC. Just for the sake of competition, I don't want this to, like, studios, or you could say DC or Marvel, to like bring up people into it, and making their multiverse more complex. It doesn't need to be that complex, because for fans it's okay. For non-fans, they will be scratching their heads in the movie hall. That's what I think. But I know they know the risk, and even they don't want to make any mistakes out here while making this movie, so they will plan it properly. But of course, as a layman, if you see this picture, I'll say it again, Marvel has 3 platforms to set up the multiverse, where DC is setting up just in Flash. But since DC has already mentioned that everything is connected in its whole DC universe, TV shows and whatnot, so it can actually show the impact of the multiverse maybe in other movies, TV shows, maybe everywhere. So that's kind of, I won't say an advantage to it, but yes, they can spread it out in its own way. So the future after the multiverse, of course, is going to have a big impact in both the shared universe. But let's start with DC now. Now, after the Flash movie, of course, we've been hearing rumors that maybe that might be the last movie Ben Affleck appears, or maybe after that he might do a Batman prequel, whatnot. Let's keep those things aside. Or maybe Michael Keaton will be brought back to the present world. Endless possibilities. And then I know, like, looking at the current situations, things do change down the line. But yes, it will have a huge change in the universe, shared universe. It might introduce new characters. It might eliminate some previous characters. It might introduce some new storylines. It might join new storylines. And I could say we might get totally something different. Or maybe I could say a soft reboot. Well, that's the worst thing that's the worst or last thing that could happen. Now, when we talk about Marvel in this case, because as we know that Marvel is building the Secret Invasion storyline, and in the side by side we're doing the multiverse thing. So will Marvel bring back some old characters, or will Marvel bring back some new characters? I won't say the multiverse will end there and there. It might also inflict bringing in some villains too. We might get to see some old villains, or maybe some new villains. Endless possibilities, I would say. Endless possibilities. But whatever happens, in the end, we all will end up comparing it to each other. Talking about how good Marvel was better than DC, or how DC did it well than Marvel, how Doctor Strange or Spider-Man explained it really well, how Flash didn't do well, or how Flash did that scene well. All those things that don't matter at all, because in the end we just need to enjoy these movies, and we should be lucky enough that we are getting all kind of movies too. See, on my part, I really want DC to succeed here, DC to break through and give us an amazing movie. And please, DC, streamline your movies at least, because it's not only just confuses its fans, it confuses its non-fans. Unfortunately, DC doesn't have someone like Kevin Feige as Marvel, and of course with DC's executive problems or internal WB issues, it's DC who faces it. It's like anything that happens in Warner Brothers, DC has to suffer in the end. I'm like, no one takes DC seriously. But of course, with the recent developments, what we've seen with the Snyder Cut and the other movement, we do have faith in DC, and we'll always have faith in DC. Let's see if it does well this time. In Marvel, yes, we have a blind faith in Marvel, because it has been delivering for the past 10, 12 years, maybe? Yeah, somewhat like that. And still delivering it. So we have more trust in Marvel than DC, but then again, we love them both. In the end, I just want to ask one thing. Who do you think is going to be the winner in this multiverse battle? Or maybe both of them can be winners? Or do you think that this multiverse war or this multiverse battle is gonna change a lot of things than what we're imagining right now? Or what do you think, like what great things we'll get to see? We'll go crazy. I'll go crazy if I see Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Oh heck, I'll go crazy if I see Michael Keaton in his Batman suit. Unfortunately, I think Thomas Wayne, of course, Jeffrey D. Morgan won't be there, but I please hope, come on, they get him and make him play, Bruce Wayne's dad. I want to see that Batman, Flashpoint's Batman. So how did you find this video? If you have any questions, do write it in the comment sections. If you have any advices, if you have any other theories about the multiverse, do let me know. And if you like this video, do subscribe and share it, because it's your support is what we need, and we'll be making more videos like this. So until then, we just hope this pandemic passes away and we can get those movies and enjoy them. So to fanboys and to everyone,